Okay, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Are you guys able to hear me? Okay, great. And also, are you able to see the screen? Okay, fine. So I'll keep my video off throughout the session to save some bandwidth. So, are there any students here who are joining for the first time? I see. So, have you guys looked into the video that I have uploaded on my YouTube channel, like the first session? If not, let me share a link to the session. Just a second. Yeah. So I'll be uploading all the lecture recordings over here on my YouTube channel. So in case you have missed the first session, please don't worry about it. The recordings will be available on the YouTube channel, and you may uh, feel free to leave as well because we are going to record each and every session, so you can watch them later at your own convenience. So coming to the topic that we discussed in the first session. So, are there any queries? I see, Yogesh. So, yeah, no worries. You can definitely catch up on that. So, the lecture recording is available. You can look into that. Okay. So, is there anyone who has any queries from the previous session? No, Dipti. So this session won't have any attendance. So attendance is not mandatory for these sessions. So these sessions are meant for those who are having difficulties in following up the course material. Just a second. I'm not sure if people can unmute themselves. Yeah, I think you can unmute yourself and ask queries. Yes, please. You can ask your queries now or towards the end of the session. I'll try to wrap up soon today so that we can have some Q&A towards the end as well. Yes, Dipti. So if you are comfortable with the previous topics, like whatever topics we have covered in the previous week, so there is no need to watch them. So it's for them like who are like totally new to the concepts and are not able to follow up with the course material. Yeah. Okay. So how to fix presentation error in NPTEL? Oh, okay. Adi, I'm not sure about it. Like these are logistics related queries, so I would like you to put this on the forum because I'm not handling the logistics of the course. I'm mostly taking care of the online live sessions. Yeah. So in today's session, I'm going to cover some basics of Python and which will help you to solve your this week's assignment. So please be there. And if you have any queries at any point, please feel free to ask. Okay. We'll do a basic recap of Scratch this time. Okay. I request everyone to please be on mute. Ayush, I won't be able to discuss the questions directly, but I'll discuss the concepts which will help you to solve those questions. Yes, Tripti, you can attend this session. It's up to you. Like, if you are fine with the concepts, then yeah, it's totally up to you if you want to attend the session or not. Or the recording, as I said, the recordings of these sessions will be available on the YouTube channel, so you can definitely join or watch them later at your own convenience. Okay, so let us get started. So, for those of you who are joining for the first time, my name is Saish Jaiswal, and I'm a PhD student in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering at Indian Institute of Technology, Madras. So, let's get started. This is the question on which we left last time. So, did any one of you try to attempt this problem in Scratch? Yeah, Ritika, you can watch this session recording later as well. Okay, so is there anyone who did not get this query question or problem? I see. So let us try to solve this in Scratch. So I'll open. Okay, are you guys able to see the Scratch window? Okay, great. So let me refer to this tab as well. So it says, uh, before that, let me just quickly go through whatever we have discussed so far in Scratch. So we saw that there is an object called sprite in Scratch, and you can perform certain operations on it using the commands over here, available here. And there are different kinds of commands, like motion commands that will help you like move this object uh, in this space, and then turn the object, go to some certain random position, or glide to certain random position, or point in some direction and change the x and y coordinates of this particular object, let's say by 10, and set this x and y to certain values. And then you can also display the xy coordinates of that particular object and the direction in which the object is pointing. So the forward direction is the 90 degree angle that is mentioned over here. And the x coordinate is currently 159, y coordinate is a negative 18. Okay, so this was about the motion. Then there are this looks command in which you can make this object say something. For example, say hello for 2 seconds. So this object will say hello for 2 seconds. Then you can make the object think something. You can change the costume of the object. You can change the size of the object. You can set it to 100%, 200%, and so on. And there are many such options over here. You can either show the object or hide the object. And then after that, we saw some sounds, like you can play the sounds, you can upload your own sounds, you can also change these objects, you can draw your own objects, and so on. After that, I'll skip this part. Then we looked into the control. Before that, I'll discuss the variables. So we saw what I request everyone to please be on mute. So we saw in the last session what variables are and how to declare variables in Scratch and how you can set the variables to certain value, how you can change the value of the variables, how you can show a particular variable and hide a particular variable. Okay. And then we saw certain operators in Scratch. So you can perform certain operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. You can also use the variables. You can set the values of variables and perform certain operations on them. And then we also saw other operators, including the Boolean operators like and, or, and not. For those of you who are joining for the first time and do not know about this, I highly recommend you go back to the first session recording and then uh, look into this session's recording later because it might confuse you if you don't know these concepts. But if you want to stay, please do so. Okay. And then after that, we went on to control. So in control, we saw certain loop constructs like repeat forever and repeat until. And then we saw some conditional statements like if, then, and if, then, else. Okay. So coming back to this question, so here. We are declaring a variable called num and we are setting it to 5. Then we are declaring a variable t and setting it to 1. Similarly, a variable x is set to value num. Okay, and num is the variable. Oops, sorry, I displayed the answer. Okay, so then we are having a repeat loop in which we are putting some condition on the variable t, and then we are displaying the value of variable x and then setting the value of x to t into num, the value of num, and then changing t, the value of t, whatever the value of t is there, we are changing it by 1. In other words, we are adding 1 to the value of t, and then we are waiting for 1 second. Okay, so let me just try this, writing this code in Scratch. So go to the variable. So we'll have to declare a variable called num, and then we'll make a variable t and a variable x. Okay, and then we'll set num to, what was there, 5. Then we'll set t to 1 and x to num. Okay, so we have done these 3 steps. Now we have to take the repeat until loop. So that can be found in the control. So here is the repeat until, and then there is some condition which they have applied on the variable t. So for the conditions, we have these operators here. And what condition was it? It is t greater than 11. So t greater than 11. After this, you are saying x or displaying the value of x, setting x to t into num, and changing t by 1. So let us do this. Okay. So for displaying something, you have this say command. You are displaying the value of x. Then you are setting x to t into num. Set x equal to t into num. So we have to use a multiplication operator over here. T into num. And then we are changing t by 1. And then we'll wait for some time. So there is this control called wait, which will hold on to the, uh, like before starting the new operation, it will wait for 1 second. Okay. So let us now see what it shows. Let me run this. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Yeah. And then it stopped. Okay. So did you guys get this? How it, yeah, that is exactly. It looks like Lego. It's like joining these operations together. Okay. So is there any query in this? Somebody has raised their hand. Is there any query? Please feel free to ask. Is there any group for this batch? So Vivek, there is an online forum wherein you can put all your queries or discuss queries relating to the course. So let me share this. Like there is this Q&A option over here, which will take you to a Google discussion forum. So you can ask your queries over there, and some of the other TAs who are handling the logistics of the course, they'll be able to answer your queries. Okay, some of you are joining for the first time. So yeah, for those of you who are joining for the first time, I'll recommend you go through the recording of the previous session. I'll put the link to my YouTube channel. So the video has been uploaded over there. You can go through it and then come back to this session's recording. So everything will be uploaded to YouTube, including the material that I'll be using for throughout all these sessions. So in today's class, I'm going to discuss some of the basic concepts of Python. So I'll come to that. Yeah, so for these sessions, there is no attendance. So these sessions are optional. So it's mainly for them who want to clarify their queries. Sangeet, I have shared the link over here. So the name of my channel is NPTEL Live Sessions, Saish Jaiswal. So you can look into that. Okay. So I assume everybody is clear with this particular question. Uh, no, Dipti, I think you should definitely go through all the lecture recordings. So whatever lecture recordings are there over here, you should ideally be going through these recordings before coming for these sessions so that you get an idea of what is covered in this week or in that particular week. So I highly recommend you first go through all these lecture recordings and then attend these sessions. These sessions are optional, so you need not bother about missing anything. We'll be discussing the same concepts that are discussed in the week, but I'll try to cover certain extra things which may not be covered by the instructor in the course. Okay. Yes, Rishika, I think it is necessary to pass all the public test cases because and there might be some hidden test cases as well. I'm not sure though how it is evaluated, but yeah, definitely you'll have to pass all the test cases. Sorry, Moksh, I can't actually solve the quiz questions directly over here. But if you have any query regarding the concept that is needed over there, yeah, please feel free to ask. We'll discuss Python here. So I hope like as we go forward, like you'll get an idea of how to solve these kind of problems. Yeah, yeah, definitely. We'll look into the Python programming now. Okay. So I hope everybody got this. So I'll go on to the next question. Now we'll start what is the core concept of this course, the Python programming language. So here is a basic question. So what are the applications of Python? So Janendra, yeah, I'm a teaching assistant, but definitely it's my role to guide you as well, like to solve the problems and to understand the concepts. So you can ask your queries any time you have any difficulty. Yeah. So yeah, please try to answer. This is a very basic question. Uh, so yes, the correct answer is all of above. So Python is a high-level programming language which can be used for several tasks, including the image processing. So this you would have seen in certain face recognition systems, wherein the system scans your face and then does some machine learning inside, and then tries to identify if the person is actually the person in the database. So that is one application of Python in the domain of image processing. There are definitely other programming languages as well, like C, C++, Java, that are used. And there are some other programming languages like Pascal that are quite old. So yeah, and yeah, there are several other applications. We won't be going into all these applications, but yes, Python can be used for image processing, it can be used for audio processing, it can be used for developing websites, it can be used to develop operating systems as well, right? Like the backend of a particular website or do a lot of tasks. So this was just to motivate you that you can do a lot of you can you know um, work on a lot of different tasks using Python. So the topic that we are going to cover in this session are variables in Python, as we discuss variables in Scratch. So we'll draw some parallels between Python and Scratch, and I'll introduce all these concepts one by one. I'm not sure if I'll be able to cover everything in detail, but yeah, let me just try to cover all of them, touch upon all these concepts. Okay, then we'll go on to certain functions in Python. Then we'll see the data types in Python, similar to the data types that we saw in Scratch. Although we didn't have a notion of data types over there formally. Then we'll see certain operators in Python, similar to what we saw in Scratch. Then we'll go on to seeing the conditional statements in Python, and then we'll see the loops in Python. Then some functions in Python, like the user-defined functions, and some basic data structures. Okay, yeah. So before we begin, so as in the Scratch, let me go on to Scratch. So here there was an option to make a variable, okay, and then you could have given any name over here. Let's say I can even declare a variable of my name, Saish. So Saish is a variable that can hold any value. Similarly, in Python, you can declare variables, but there are certain rules for naming the variables. Okay, so let me go on to this tool. So in these live sessions, I'll be using this tool, online tool called Google Collaboratory or Google Colab. It is very similar to your other IDEs that the instructor would have discussed, the Spider and other environment. So it is, sorry, I think I'm not sharing the screen. Yeah. So I'll be using Google Colab in these sessions, and you can definitely use Spider and other IDE that you are comfortable with, but this is pretty easy to use online, and I can share it with you as well. So you can play around with the notebooks and then write your own programs, and it is going to be stored on cloud. So you don't have to store it on any system or your personal space. Yeah. So yeah, I'll discuss it, Dipti, now. So for those of you who do not know, just search Google Colab and then you can create a new notebook over here. You can also write a flat code. I'll come to that later for Python. So once you go on to creating a new notebook, you can give it a name, and the extension of that notebook will be IPYNB or IPython notebook. If you write a Python code in a file, like a text file, the extension of Python file is generally .py, and here we are using a Python notebook which have you in which you can see that there is some text and there are certain cells over here in which you can write the Python code, you can execute them. So this kind of structure is called notebook or Python notebook, and which has this extension IPYNP. Okay, you can even export this file as a flat Python code using the save option over here or the download option over here. You can download it as .py or .ipython notebook. Okay, and you will need the tools like Jupyter Notebook or something to read this IPYNB, but you can run this Python command Python code in terminal as well. So I don't want to confuse you more. So let us get started here. So as I said, Python has certain rules for declaring variables. So one of them is that the variable name must start with a letter or underscore. So I can have a variable a, or I can have a variable underscore a. I can have variable underscore 123, but I cannot have, oops, sorry, but I cannot have a variable with name 12 underscore or 1a or 1b. So this is not allowed. A variable can start with a letter or underscore. Okay, so the letter and underscore, these are only the alphabets. Okay, and not the special characters. So you cannot have like special characters like at or exclamation mark or hash something in Python variables. So a variable must start with a letter or the underscore character. A variable name cannot start with a number, but you can have numbers in the variable, but the only condition it should start with a character. Okay, so you can have variables like a1, oops, uh, a1, a2, a3, and so on. Okay. A variable name can only contain alphanumeric characters and underscore. It cannot contain any special characters like ampersand, at, hashtag, dollar, or hyphen, or anything. And variable names are case sensitive. So, for example, if I have a variable age, so age, let's say age equal to 12, and then I declare a variable capital AGE. I can also declare a variable A capital GE, and I can also declare it as AGE. So all these variables are treated differently in Python because it is case sensitive in nature. So the variable names are case sensitive. So by that it means that if you use the uppercase lowercase here, it will have a different space allotted to the variables. So it's not the same. Okay, I hope this is clear so far. Okay. Yeah, I'll be going from very basic. So for those of you who are like who know all this already, you please feel free to leave. You can definitely look into the recording later, like if you have any queries. But I want to bring everyone on the same page, so I want to go uh, from the basics of Python. Okay, yeah. So this was about the variable names, and then also a variable name cannot be any of the Python keywords. So we'll see what these keywords are. So there are certain keywords in Python like for, while, in, input, and so on. We'll see what these are. So you cannot have a variable with those names. So there is a function in Python called print. Let me see what is there on the list. So we saw variables in Python. Okay, so let me go on to the question on variables. So which of the following is not a correct variable name? Yeah, Moksh. So Colab can be accessed using your Google account. So you need to have a Google account to access Colab, Google Colab. Okay, so many of you have got it correct. So 32, since it is starting from a number, it is not a valid variable name in Python. Okay. So let me go back to this slide. So we have seen variables in Python. Now let us see the print function. So now you have variables declared over here. If I want to print something, so let me show you over here. You can even print in this particular cell, or you can have a new cell over here. So this is how you can add. So you will have to click on this code. So this will add a new cell over here. To run this particular cell, you can either click on this run option over here, or you can do shift enter or command enter depending on the system or keyboard you are using. So let me just run this. Okay. So I have run this particular line of statements, and I want to print age. So print is a inbuilt function in Python. So what are functions, by the way? Like these are not the normal functions that you might be aware of. These are the mathematical functions. So you would have seen this kind of. So let me just write text over here. So y equal to f of x or f of x comma z. So what it says, you are giving x and z as input to this function named f, and it is giving certain output, which it is storing in y. Okay, so these are like the mathematical functions that you would have seen in your maths class. So exactly the same definition of functions here. The function, any function in Python, it may or may not take any input. Uh, So there might be some input and it will do certain operations internally and it might return something. So in this case, it might return. So let's say this function x plus x comma z is x plus z. So if I give x and z as input, it will add the value of x plus z, x and z, and then store it in y. Okay. So these are known as input parameters, x and z. F is the function name. X plus z is the operation that is being performed by the function, and then it is getting stored in y. So it returns this value. So these are some technical terms. So input parameters, certain operations are being performed internally. This is not a formal function in Python. Like this is not you write a function in Python. This is just a mathematical function that I'm trying to explain. And then you store this value in y. So it's like this function is returning this value to y. Okay. So this was about the function. So what this print function does, it takes something as input and displays it on the screen. Okay, so that is its output. So let me just print age. Okay, so it has printed the value of age. So let me print capital AG. Okay, so you can see that AGE and AGE are treated differently. But what if I write AGE equal to 14 or let's say 20? So what will be the output over here? AGE and capital AG. So if I run this, now what will be the output? Can anyone say? No, I'm running this particular second cell, which has two functions. Yeah. So many of you have got it right. So it will print. Oops, I'll have to. Why did it not print 20? Okay, let me just run this because I did not run this particular cell. So that value was not stored. So what is happening over here? Let me run this again. So you will see 20 and 30. So what happened here? I declared age variable and assigned it the value of 12. Here, I again assigned it another value which has overwritten the existing value of age. Okay, so it has changed the value of age over here. And hence, you'll see this as so when I ran it for the first time, I had not run this particular cell. So that's why the old value of age was printed. But after running this, the new value of age, which is 20, is getting printed over here. Okay, so is this clear to everyone? Okay, let me just try increasing the font size if you are not able to see it. Okay, so this was about variable. So if I want to print this two things in one line, let's say, so I can also do age and age. Let me just run this. So you can see, uh, instead of printing it on different lines, it has just printed it on one single line. So I can print all these variables. Let's say age, AG, capital G, E, AG, capital E, and so on. So you can see all these variables are getting printed. Similarly, there is another option in Python in which, so every time you write print, it will add a new line character. So new line character is, okay, so everything is a character over here. A new line character is /n, which is generally a new line that you add to the print. However, if you don't want to add a new line, so let me just check it. So are there any queries so far till now? In it is case sensitive, so every character must be in uppercase or lowercase. Just a second. How it will print age? Can you please clear? I did not get your question, Ritika. Like, what do you want to ask? So every variable over here is treated differently. It's not the same. That is what case sensitivity means. Uh, okay. I'm not sure if I get your question. Got your question. Let me just try. So, as somebody rightly pointed out, we'll have to use and over here. Let me just write it. So, if I write print age and print age capital GE, so it will by default print everything on a new line. But if I write it like this, let's say, so I'm giving some delimiter over here. So by default, it is a new line character. But if I write and equal to something, so instead of adding a new line, it is adding whatever I'm giving over here. So let's say if I just want to give space. So it is separating, it is printing the value of age, which is 20. Then adding this, instead of new line, it is adding this space over here and then printing the other value, which is 14, A capital GE. Okay. And instead of space, I can write anything over here. Okay. So you can use this end parameter in for this print function to add any delimiter over here while printing. So is this clear?
Sir,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
I
please go
think
ahead.
my uh, in Python is a case sensitive.
Hmm. Yeah.
So if we declare a caps a small letter, it will not accept it. Am I right?
Accept in the sense, like, what do you mean by that?
If I give caps A small g and e equal to 15, it will not accept it as a variable. Is
It
it right?
can. Yeah, it can. You can declare like variable like this, A, capital G, and you can even assign some value to it. So this is totally fine in Python. Unless it starts from any number, like you cannot have like 12 AG, something like this.
But
Yeah,
but
so
it's case sensitive. No,
yeah, case
how
sensitivity means, so yeah, let me just come to that. Case sensitive means that a character can be a lower, like in variable, the characters can be either uppercase or lowercase. Okay, so if so this capital A and small a are treated differently over here in Python. So if you write AGE and capital AGE, so these are two different variables. But if I just write AGE again and assign it some value, it is going to override this AGE because this and this are the same variable. But this and this particular AGE are different variables. Does that answer your query? So case is the
okay.
lowercase uppercase of the variable in the variable name. So
Is
that
it,
is the case sensitivity. So you can either,
Can
yeah, yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, please go ahead. Does that answer your query?
yes, sir.
Okay, okay.
So
Yeah,
we
please.
can so we
Yeah,
can declare as any
yeah,
small
you,
a, caps a.
yes, you can declare in any format. We'll see on the variable naming convention as well later, like what kind of naming conventions you can use. I'll introduce you all to some other resource as well, wherein we'll see this. But this is just for the introduction of the variable
But
naming convention. Yeah.
but here I'm a computer science student.
Mm-hmm.
I have studied that
Mm-hmm. What is your query? Okay, I think Ritika, whosoever has asked the query, yeah, we'll come to that your question later towards the end of this session. I'll have to move ahead because I'll have to cover a lot of concepts here. But please hold on to your query. We'll see to it later. Okay, so I hope this is clear to everyone. So this was all about the variable and the print function. Now we will see input. So here, in this case, you are declaring variables and then printing something. In this print function, even you can print, let me just write, you can print hello. You can write something, a string over here. We saw what strings are in the previous lecture. So strings are nothing but a set of characters within this. So in Python, you'll have to declare a string within double quotes. So if you just write this without any quotation marks, so let me run this now and see what happens. So it will say syntax error, okay? Because this is not a string. A string is something which comes within quotation marks. It can be either double quotes or single quotes or anything. So you can even have a string in single quotes, okay? And you can see that these two strings are displayed next to each other. Fine. So now I want to print, so I want to get some input in there. So here I was assigning this values to these variables. So manually, like, but what if I want to get the input from the user during runtime? Okay, so before the, I go into that, so let me just give you this information that Python is an interpreted language. So it interprets every statement and then executes that. Unlike C, C++, wherein you will have to compile the program and then you will generate an executable which you will execute later. So Python is an interpreted language and C, C++ are like the compiled language, programming language. And also in Python, you can assign any variable, any value to any like variable. So for example, age can be 12, or I can declare it as 12.5, or I can declare it as, although it doesn't make sense, age equal to size. This is also a valid statement in Python. So the variables are dynamically typed. Okay, but in C, C++, you will have to strictly declare the type of the variable. For example, in C, you would like write something like int age equal to 12. Okay, so you are declaring that age is a variable of type integer and you are assigning a value 12 to it. And if you try to assign some random value to it, it will just throw you an error. Okay. So that is one thing in Python. So it is a dynamically typed language. So a variable can have any type depending on what value you are assigning to it. Is it clear? Moksha, I'll come to your query. Okay. So now What if I want to have something over here? So let me just declare a variable called name, and I can write size over here, and then I can write name over here. So let me just run this cell and run this. So hello, how are you, Saish? Okay. What if I want to have something else over here? Let's say Rohan, and I'll run this. So it will change this to Rohan. But if I want to have this as input from the user during the runtime, okay, not like what I'm doing here is I'm assigning manually assigning the value over here. But if I want to have some input from the user, so there is a function called input in Python, which you can use. So let me just run this. So this will create a prompt over here, which will ask you to enter some value. So let me just enter. Uh, okay, and then okay. So what it has done is it has taken this input and then store it in the variable name. And let me run this now. So you can see over here that this name is getting input from the user. I can do this and run this. So as we saw in the Scratch, so each variable will have certain data type, right? So there is a function called type in Python, which will show you the types of data, like the type of this particular variable, any variable that you are having. So let me print type of age. So type of age is int. So what if I declare age as 12.5? So let me print this. Type of age is okay. So we are overwriting it over here. Let me just remove this. So type of age is now float. So integer data type, it is the regular integers that you have 0, 1, 2, 3, -1, -2, and so on. Float float data types are the data types in which you can store the decimal values as well. Then we have string. So let me just declare it as string within quotes and run this. And the data type of it is str, which is string. Okay, so here it is. So we have text type, which is string. Then we have numeric types, integer, float, and complex. So complex, some of you might not be knowing complex numbers, so I might not, I won't go into the details, but you can declare even complex numbers in Python like 13 plus 15j. So generally use I, but in Python you use this j over here, 13 plus 15j. So this is a complex number. So let me just run this and then print a type of age. So you see over here, it's a complex number. So it has a real value and an imaginary value associated. Okay. So this was about the variable data types. There are other data types as well. We'll go into the details later in this course. So for now, we'll only consider these four data types: str, int, float, complex, and then we also discussed about bool or boolean variables in the previous session. So it can be either true or false. So true in Python, you can have a boolean variable like true. So capital TRUE. So this is a keyword in Python. B equal to false. Let me run this and I'll print the type of A. So you can see the type of A is bool or boolean. So is this clear so far what these data types are? Okay, everyone, fine. So now the query is like if I take input from the user, let's say if I enter 12 over here, so what will be the type of this variable name? Anyone? If I print type name, so what will be its type? Sorry, you can type it in chat as well. Type the answer in chat. Anyone?
Hmm.
How many of you say it is int? You can raise your hand. Okay, so somebody got it right. So it won't be int. So let me just print it. So
So
it is
it will be
all,
string because no data type is mentioned.
yeah. So by default, input takes everything as string. So now, what if I want to convert this 12 to an integer value? So there is something called as typecasting in which you can convert data type of one variable to another. Okay, I think I'll have to be real quick. All these concepts are not covered in the course, but I'm just trying to cover something extra which might help you later in understanding certain concepts. So input is taking everything as string, but if I want to have this input as integer, so what I can do, either I can write like this, name equal to int of name. So what this is doing, this int, it's taking this value, uh, the variable name, and then converting it to integer data type. So let me just print this. Well, and now if I run this type of name, we'll see the type of name is int. I can also write float over here. I'll input 12 and type of name is float. And if I print name here, so it will be 12.0. By default, this cell in Python notebook or Colab notebook, it prints the uh, last statement, even if you don't write print explicitly over here. But if you want to print multiple things, statements, so you'll have to explicitly mention print over here. So let me just run this. So it's just ignore this for the time being. So class is something in the object-oriented programming, so you don't have to bother about it right now. The type of this data variable is float, and the value it stores is 12.2. Okay, even if I enter 12 over here. Okay, what if now I give a string as input and then try to run this? What will happen? Okay, somebody says screen is not visible. I hope the collab notebook was visible. Okay, thank you for the confirmation. Okay, so what if I give, let's say, Shravani as input? What will happen here? Okay, let me just run it quickly. So it has thrown this error called value error because Shravani is something which you cannot convert to int. So if it were like 12, that would have been okay. But if it is a non-integer value and you're trying to convert it to int, then it will throw an error. For example, let me just enter 12.5 here. Again, it will throw a value error because it is not able to convert this string 12.5 to integer because it doesn't know what this point and 5 are. Okay, so if I just give 12, it will work totally fine. But if I give 12.5 or something to int, it won't work. Let me write float over here now. If I write float 12, it will work fine. Answer will be 12. If I write 12.5, this is also fine because float knows that there is something called point, and then there is some values. There are certain values after this decimal point. Okay, so that will be totally fine for float. But if you write int over here, it will be confused because it won't be able to convert that string 12.5 to integer. Is this clear, everyone? Yeah, please stop me whenever you feel that it's not clear. Okay. So for int, only integers are valid strings. For float, integers as well as the floats, like the decimal point numbers, are valid. Okay. So if you give input as 12.5 over here, so as we discussed, everything this input function takes will be considered as string. Now, this I'm giving this 12.5. So this will be treated as a string. And if you try to convert it to int, there will be an error because int doesn't know what this point and five point is. Okay. So that will be an error. If you just write something like hello, this will also be an error because integer cannot interpret what exactly this hello is. But if I just write 12, it will be fine for int. Similarly, if I use float, I can write 12 or 12.5 or 12.6 and so on. But even if I write hello over here, in case of float, it will throw an error. Okay, because it doesn't know what this hello is. Okay, so this is what it means by typecasting, which is you can convert a data type of certain type to some other type, but it should be a valid input. Is this clear? Okay, regarding the live recording and recordings of these sessions, these are available on my YouTube channel, so you can visit this channel and then look into the recordings later at your own convenience. Okay, so let me just go on quickly to the next topics. I think I'm going a little slower today. So we discuss variables in Python, we discuss print, we discuss input, we discuss some data types in Python. There are more data types you will come across later. Now let us go on to the operators, as some of you, one of you has asked about what will be the output of age plus age. So let me clear everything here. Just delete this. Okay. So, in Python, you have different operators like a equal to. Let me just write here 1 plus 2. You can write b equal to 3 minus 1. C equal to 4 into 5. Okay, so these are all the operators plus, minus, into like multiplication and division. There are other operators as well. We'll discuss it later. So all these operators perform certain operations on the input that you give. Okay, so even you can write like this. So let me just print all these variables now. A, B, C, and D. Okay, so you can see that A is 3, B is 2, C is 20, and D is 2 by 6, which is 0.33, and so on. Okay, now I can even do E equal to A plus B, and then print E. Oops. Okay, so you can see that it has printed the value of E over here, which is 5, 3 plus 2. Uh, is this clear, everyone? These basic operators in Python? Okay, just to clarify, for some of you, it will be very basic, but I want to go from the basics so that everybody understands the later concepts. Okay, So yeah, these are some basic operators in Python. There is another operator called okay, let me just, it's called floor division, if I'm not wrong. So let's say f is 6 divided by let's say 4. So if I print the value of f, so it will give me 1.5. However, if I give this double slash, so let us see what its value will be. So it is 1, which is the floor of 6 by 4, that is floor of 1.5. There is something called as floor and seal, if you are aware of. So floor of 1.5 or 1.75 or 1.85 will be 1, and ceiling. So it's like the floor value of this particular number is the lowest integer, like the closest integer below this, less than this. And the ceiling will be the closest integer greater than this, which is 2. Okay. So this was about the operators. Now, in Python, the operations can be performed or even on the non-integer values or non-floating values. For example, if I say hello into 5, does anyone know what the output will be?
Sir, it's repeated 5 times.
Yeah. So let me just print this. So you can see hello, hello, hello is printed 5 times. So there are certain operations that can be performed on the non-integer, non-floating point variables as well, or the data types as well. So this was one example of it. So is it clear to everyone? Okay, as somebody asked earlier, what will be the output of AGE? So let me just make this again 12. So what will be the output of AGE plus capital AGE? Sorry, not capital AG because there's a complex number here. Let me just write AG. That is also a valid operation, but let us see this. Just a second. Yeah. So it has added the variable values AGE and A capital GE. What if I add AGE and capital AGE? So capital AGE is a complex number and this is a real number or integer. So let me just run this. So do you see it has performed the complex addition? For those of you who know what complex numbers are, is it clear? So it has added the real part of it. Yeah. So the real numbers will get added. So that's the addition of two complex numbers. So age is treated as yeah, 12 plus 0j, and here the imaginary value is 0. This will be a complex number, but this is just an integer. So if you add integer and a complex number, it will be a complex resultant will be a complex value. Okay. Even if you have two strings here like this, okay, let's say name one or name, I'll declare as Saish, and last name Jaiswal. So if I do name, comma, last name, so it will print Saish and Jaiswal like this. Okay. What if I want to do name plus last name? What will be the output here? Yeah, somebody wrote the correct answer. It would be string concatenation. So what will be the output? Exact output. Yeah. So you'll have to be very careful. S and J are capital here. So I hope you guys would have just realized that. So it is size chessol without any space. What if I want to add a space here? In that case, I'll also have to add space here and then add it. So what I'm doing here is I'm having this variable name containing size string, and then there is this space character. So every character is also a string in Python. So I'm having this space over here, and then I'm declaring like having this last name. So let me just run this. So it will take name plus the space plus the last name. Okay. So I hope this is clear to everyone. Okay, great. Yeah, please let me know if I'm missing some concept here. So we discussed variables in Python. We discussed print, input, data types in Python, operators in Python. There are other operators as well. There are Boolean operators in Python as well. We'll come to that when we discuss conditions and other things. Okay, so now let us move on to conditions in Python. Okay, so let me just write it over here. So in Scratch, there were these conditional constructs in the control. You had this if else, and so on. Okay. So similarly, in Python, if you want to perform certain conditional operations, like if the age is greater than 18, then you can enter the room. If it is not, then entry is not allowed. Something like that. So let me declare a variable age, and age is 12. Now I would want to say if age is greater than 18 and colon print you are eligible. Okay, so this is simple if statement. So you would have noticed here I have written if, which is a Python keyword for the condition if, and then there is this variable age on which I'm putting this condition greater than 18. Okay, so this output will be the true or false. So in this case, this is false, so this won't be executed. What if I say age is greater than 10? So this has printed this, so it will see if it is this condition is true or false. If it is true, then it will go inside and then print this. One more thing that you would have noticed here is that there is a tab or four spaces or something over here. Okay, let me just write something more. Okay, so you would have noticed that there is some space over here. So this is called indentation in Python or any programming language. Uh, in C++, it is not needed. Indentation is not needed to know like whether a particular part is a part of that particular statement. Like for here, for example, over here, these two statements belong to if. If I write this outside of this, and then let me say this condition, let me make this condition false. So if I run this, the output will be only welcome. So what it is doing, it is seeing age, checking the condition. If it is true, it will go inside. In this case, it is false. So it's not printing this. And then it's coming out of this and then printing this. But if I put this inside, so this is becoming a part of this if statement. So in Python, indentation is must. In C++, you would have written something like this, like if a is greater than 1, and then you use this curly braces over there. In many of the programming languages, you use this, and there is no colon as such. So these braces, they represent the block. So here the block is represented by indentation. So indentation is must in Python, and you'll have to be consistent with the indentation. If you're using two spaces, so it should be two spaces everywhere. So if it is tab, so it should be tab everywhere, and so on. Okay? So is this clear so far? Yeah. Is any query? Is there any query? Somebody just I think reacted no. I hope it is clear to everyone. I see. Okay, so what I was trying to say here, as we saw in the scratch, so we had this if and if else constructs. So you are putting certain conditions on some variables or any random condition here, and based on that condition, you are executing the statements inside this if or inside else. So I've just discussed the if uh, construct in Python. So I have this variable age, which I have declared as 12, and if age is greater than 18, then you are printing something over here. But if I write like this, if age is greater than 18, print, and this is not indented the way it is this particular statement, then it won't consider this particular statement print welcome as a part of this condition if. So as in Scratch, you need to write something. So let me just bring this if here. So whatever you write within this is in in the context of this particular if. So this is called a block. So this block, it belongs to if construct. And if I do something outside of it, so it doesn't belong to if. So no matter what this condition is, this is going to be executed. Similarly here in Python, you will have to have indentation to mention that this comes under the if statement. Is it clear now? Uh, Venkateshwara, is it clear now? Can you please confirm? Okay, I assume it is clear to everyone. If not, please let me know. I'll just try to explain it again. Okay, okay, thanks for the confirmation. Yeah, so this was about the indentation and the if construct. Now, what if I want to do else? So I can first of all write if age is greater than 18 or if age is, sorry, less than equal to 18. So this is the operator. So these are like conditional operators. So greater than, less than, greater than equal to, less than equal to, and equal to. So if you just write equal to, this is the assignment operator. Like you're seeing here, age equal to 12. So I'm assigning 12 to age. But if I write if age is 12, then you are 12-year old person. You are a 12-year-old person. Okay. So what it is doing, it is checking if it is exactly 12. Okay. So if you just write equal to here, let me just write is, so what will be the output here? I've just written equal to here. What will the output of this code if I run this code now? Okay, forget about this output. This was like from the previous run. Okay, so let me just run this. Okay, so this throwing a syntax error over here because either it should be equal to or double equal to or colon equal to. We'll come to that later. In certain programming languages like C, this particular statement is always treated as true. Okay, so in Python it's a syntax error, but this will be evaluated as true, and no matter what you have assigned here, it will just simply execute that statement. Okay, so that was one thing that you'll have to be careful about. So you should not write single equal. If you are checking the condition, it should be always double equal. Okay, so single equal is an assignment operator, and this is like a condition checking operator, like a equal to operator. Okay, so yeah. So I coming to that. So if age is less than equal to 18, so colon is must over here. This is the syntax or the grammar of this Python programming language. You will have to use colon. After that, print you are not eligible. Okay. So if I just run this now, so it is printing you are not eligible because the age is 13. It will first check this. It's not true. Then it will go on to the next statement. It will check this. This is true. It is going inside and then printing that. Okay. But what if I want to write this? I don't want to check this particular condition because once it is checked, I need not check if it is like it is sure that it is less than 18, less than or equal to 18. So in that case, I can simply use other construct in uh, Python called else. So if age is 18, it is simple English actually. Print you are eligible, else print you are not eligible. Okay, so this is also going to give me the same output. Is this clear? Okay, yeah. What if I want to check multiple conditions? If age is greater than let's say 60, then print something. If age is okay, let me just declare age here as well. Age equal to 12. If age is greater than 60, print greater than 60. I'm just declaring the string. Okay, now I want to write if age is greater than 50, then print greater than 50, and if age is greater than let's say 10, print greater than 10. So here, let me execute this. So the output will be, so it will first check this. This is not true. It will go on to the next statement. It will check this. This is not true. It will go on to the next statement, and then it will check this, and then it is true, and it will execute this. Okay. So what if I want to save this? So what is happening here? It is checking this as well as this. But what if the condition is true in the first place? Let's say age is 23, and I'll run this here as well. Okay, the output is same, but the difference over here is it is checking both the conditions here. It is checking this as well as this. But in this case, if one condition is true, it will just go inside and then come outside of it. It won't go on to this else statement. Okay. Now I have multiple such conditions. So if I want to check any one of this, only one condition until it becomes true and then come out of it. So there is something called as elif or else if in some programming languages. So I can simply write it as elif and then else. So let me just execute this. So it has done the same thing. It will check if age is greater than 60. No. Elif. Age is greater than 50. No. Then else. Just print whatever it is. Okay. So I can change it to let's say 55. Oops. Sorry. So it will check first condition. It is not true. Then it will go to elif. It will check this age is greater than 50. It is true. It will print this and then come out. It won't check this else condition. Okay. So is this okay? Fine. Yeah. So else if is not a valid keyword in Python. Elif is the valid keyword. In C, C++, you will use else if. Okay. Yeah. So we saw variables in Python, print, input, data types, operators, conditions in Python, and then we'll see loops in Python and quickly go on to function. I'm not sure if I'll be able to cover everything here now, but yeah, let us try to see because all these concepts are necessary for you to solve your assignment. Okay, so we saw all these concepts. Now coming to loops in Python. So in Scratch, we saw two loop constructs, three actually, repeat, forever, and repeat until. So in Python, there are two loops, for and while. Okay. So I can say for I in range 10, print I. Don't bother about it. I'll explain what it is. So what it is doing, it is iterating on this range 10. So range 10, range is again a function in Python. So let me just run this. So it will give you a range from 0 to 10, 0 inclusive and 10 exclusive. So let me just run this. For I in range 10, print I. In is again an operator or a keyword in Python which will check the value in these iterator and it will assign one value uh, at a time to this variable I. So I can also say for value in range 10, print value. This is also equivalent. Okay. So what it is doing, it is taking the range 10, which means it will take 0 to 9. Like if there is a variable, let me just say variable n equal to, let's say 12, and I write range n. So it will print from 0 to 11. So is this clear? The basic thing? Yeah. So yeah, coming to that, Naneshwari, so there is nothing called as do while in Python. It's only while. I'll discuss it now. Do while is there in C, C++, but not in Python. But you can use the while loop to and make it work like a do while loop. Okay, so this was like for loop in which you are iterating on certain list of values. I can also have, let's say, there is something called as a list data structure as well in Python, data type, but I'll discuss it in detail later. Let me just declare it here. So names, and I'm just declaring, okay, so this is a list. We'll see what lists are later. And if I want to iterate on each value in this list, so for I in, for name in names, print name. So it will print Sai, Shravan, Durga here. Okay. So it will iterate on any list or a range of values that you want to iterate on. So there is no condition checking as such happening over here. It is just simply going on the list. However, if you want to do some condition checking, like let's say I declare a variable uh, age as 12, while age is less than 18, print age and age equal to age plus 1. So what will be the output of this particular construct over here? Can anyone tell?
13.
So will it just print only once? Yeah. So it will. Okay, so I'll move on. So it will uh, first check this condition. If it is true, yes, then it will go inside, print age, then increment the value of age equal to age plus one, and again go back and check the condition. And then if it is true, it will go inside, execute this, and then again check the condition, and so on. So let me run this. So it has printed 12, then it has printed 13, 14, 15, 17. So it has once it has become 17, it is printing 17. Then the age is becoming 18. Now it is going back over here. So 18 is not less than 18. This is false. It is count. So the difference between for and while loop is that uh, for it runs on a list or iterable value data type, whereas in while you will have to give certain condition over here. Okay. I'll also discuss it later, like when we discuss list in detail, like you can use even while loop to go over the list. Okay, I can do this operation as well using for loop. How? So it can be for, so let's say, okay, I'll not confuse you now. Let us discuss it later in the next session. But this was just for your information that for can be used to go over the uh, values, and then uh, the while loop uses certain condition and executes something in the block. I hope this is clear to everyone. Okay, great. So this was about the looping construct, a loop construct. And then let us move on to functions in Python. And then I'll just touch upon list, and we'll discuss tuples or tuples and dictionaries in the next class. Okay, okay. So you have seen the functions like print, input, range, and uh, what else? Type. There was a function called type, which was giving the type of the data variable that you had, declare, and so on. What if I want to define my own function? Let's say I want to define a function called add, add, add two numbers. So I have to use this keyword def and then write the name of the function, add two number, and then as we discussed earlier, so y equal to f of x comma z or x1 comma x2, which does the operation x1 plus x2 and gives its output into stores its output into y. Similarly here, you're defining a function. Let us make it f. That's it. You can even declare a function f, and then I am giving x1 and x2 as input. Like there are two parameters it can take. Again, colon, and it will do x1 plus x2. Now I declare this a equal to 12, sorry, b equal to 13, and c equal to, if I just call this function f, so calling is actually a formal term that we use to use a function, and then I enter a and b over here. So what it will do, a is getting assigned to this x1, b is getting assigned to x2, it is doing x1 plus x2, and it is returning by default, but you can, so okay, so let me just do here x3 equal to x1 plus x2 and then return x3. This is also valid, and then the previous statement was also valid. Okay, so let me just run this and print C. Okay, so you can see that A is getting assigned to x1, B is getting assigned to x2. It is doing operation x1 plus x2, storing in x3, and then returning the value of x3. Okay, and then this is the value which is returned by this function is getting stored in C, and then we are printing the value of C. Is this clear? So you can do any thing in this. So as I said earlier, you can define your own function, add, let's say, three numbers. So you'll have, you can give any name over here, A, B, C, and then you can just return A plus B plus C. By the way, like earlier, we were not returning the value of x1 plus x2. It was just simply doing x1 plus x2. I'll show you what will happen in that case. Yeah, and then let me just write. Uh, yeah, so I can also assign values like this: A, B, C equal to 12, 13, 14 in Python. So 12 will get assigned to A, 13 to B, and 14 to C. So this is also a possible way to assign multiple values to multiple variables. And then I'll say D equal to add three numbers A, B, C, and then print, sorry, D. Oh, add three numbers. So I have not named it numbers, it was number. Yeah, so you see here the value is 39. So I've taken this input A, B, C, and then performed certain operation and returned it. Unless you return, the value won't be returned over. So if I say here like this, x3 equal to x1 plus x2, and let me just print the value of let us say c equal to 1. Okay, so what it has done is it has returned nothing. So that's why the value of it is none. So to unless you return something, the return value will be none. So now let me run this. So now you can see C was 1 and then C equal to F of A comma B. So it has changed this C to the output of this function. Okay, similarly here, return A plus B. So I could have also done here like D equal to A plus B plus C and then return D. This is also valid. Like it will do the same operation as it was doing earlier. Let me run this. Yeah. So this was about the user-defined functions. And also there is something called as the default values. So if I just let's say declare C as 5 and I don't pass C over here in this. So by default, if this value is not passed, it will take it as 5. So let me run this. You can see that it has taken 12 and 13 over here in A and B, and C was by default 5. So it has just taken that and then performed operation. And what if I just use this C as input? So it will this C will override this by default parameter and then uh, it will compute the value and return it. So is this clear? Is this particular concept clear?
Sir, I have one doubt. Can you
Hmm.
please clear me?
Yeah. Yes,
Can
please,
you
please.
please give the can you please give the values inside the block?
Oh, inside the block, you mean you want me to have some values here?
Yes.
A, okay.
And just call the function at the end of the block.
Like this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me run this. So you can see that I'm calling it as 12 and 13, but internally I'm changing the values. So first of all, for those of you who are not aware of these terminologies, so these are called the local variables of this function. So these are within the scope, okay? So whatever values I am passing, so these ABC are different than these ABC. These are local to the function. and these are the global variables which are declared outside of the function. So these are only accessible inside the function. So whatever value, so a equal to 12, b equal to 12. So here you're passing something a, b. So this, let me just write it as a1, b1, c1, just to avoid confusion. So this a1 is getting assigned to a, b1 is getting assigned to b, c1 is getting assigned to say c. It is overwriting the value of c actually here. If I would have not passed this c1, it would have been just simplified. Okay, so now you have added this, a, b, c got changed, but now you are again declaring a as 12, which is again overwriting the value which you have passed. B is 12, so it is overwriting the value of b and then using this for the computation here. And that's why the value is different than the earlier value. Okay, is this clear?
No, sir, I am asking that. Can you please rub the seventh line fully?
Okay, yeah, so there is something called as comment in Python. I'll just comment this out using hash. So if you just use hash, it won't execute that particular line, but it will
Ah,
throw an error over here because these variables are not declared. So if I call it without any parameter, it will throw an error. Let me just do this because it will expect A and B to be entered by the user. Okay, so if you are not passing something, let me just pass 1 and 2. At least something should be passed, then only this particular block or function will execute.
if you are not passing any parameters, it will show error. Am
Yeah,
I
so
right?
because these are mandatory parameters. C is like a optional parameter. Like even if you don't pass it, it will take it. So if I were to write like this, a equal to 1, b equal to 4, and then so if I don't pass anything now, then this is okay. So it will print. Oops, let me just. So it has overwritten this. Let me just remove this. So I'm not passing any argument here, but it is taking the default values. So here, parameters here, it is taking the default values. So this will run perfectly fine. But if it is a mandatory variable that or parameter, input parameter that you need to pass, and if you are not passing it, it will throw an error. Is it clear, everyone?
Sir, but
Yeah, yeah.
but you are
Please.
declaring d variable two times
Yeah. So
for
that's
the
what I.
operation.
Yes. So that's what I was saying. This D inside the function and then these D outside the function are different. This has nothing to do with this D. So these are
So,
called the local variables of the function. You will have to know certain concepts of operating system, like basic D.
Local scope, global scope.
Yeah, so this D is the global variable, and this D is the local variable. The scope
Local
of this
variable.
vari yeah is only within this function. So it won't affect the value of the global D.
Okay, sir,
sir,
I'm clear. Thank.
Yeah.
sir, I
Yes.
need a small clarification.
Hmm.
Sir, if we add for the global variables, if they doesn't fit for any conditions, means then it can move on to the local variable. Such conditions can be applied on this
Yes,
definition.
yes, yes, yes. It can be done. Actually, like if you just do like this, if C equal to let's say 12, I declare over here, I don't okay, I'll have to pass this and okay, let me just add numbers and I can do AD equal to A plus B plus C. And if I just call this with only one value, so let us see what it prints. It has taken sorry. So it has taken 1 in A, B is taken as 4 by default, and it has also taken the global value of C here. Okay, so this function has access to the global C. So in this case, this C is the global C that you are in. But however, if it were like this C, let me run this. So now you see it is taking the closest context. So if it is C, if C is declared here, it will take this context only. If C is not declared here, it will go out of the scope and then look for it.
Okay, sir.
Sir, can you please run this code
Yeah,
without
just
declaring B?
without declaring B means like this.
Yes.
Yeah, so it will throw an error because you're not passing B here. If I were to pass B, 1, 2, then it will run fine. Okay,
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
yeah. So are these concepts clear to everyone? Whatever we have discussed so far, even if it is not, like you can anytime go back and see the recording and refresh the concepts, okay, or revise the concepts. Okay, so this was all about the basics concepts in Python. List, I'll not touch upon this now, but I've just told you like a basic of list. List is like a set of certain values which you can iterate over. We'll see this in detail later, but before that, I want to show you this resource. The website is called W3 Schools, in which you can go to Python and you will have like the complete tutorial on Python from very basic. So you can go to, like, let's say over here, Python syntax or Python variables. So you will see like the short mini tutorials here, which you can try it yourself and run. For example, Python strings. So you can see over here there are different ways in which you can print strings and other things, all the operations that you can perform on string and so on. So everything is over here. And if you go on to the latest uh, tutorials, like you will see the advanced Python concepts as well. We'll come to these concepts later in this course, but in case you want to revise certain concepts, you can definitely use this resource called W3 Schools, in which there is this Python. So you can also explore other programming languages as well, uh, or markup languages. But yeah, this will be really helpful for you to go through. And one thing I forgot to talk about was comments. So when you write code in Python or any programming language, it's a good practice to add comments over there. So the way I commented this particular thing, so let me just remove this. So you can add a comment here using hash in Python, like this uh, function to add numbers. If you want to write on multiple lines, you'll have to use hash. This is my function. Uh, it is a good practice to write on. So I can write comments on multiple lines. But if I don't want to use this hash every time, what I can do is I'll just remove
Sir,
this. Yeah, yeah. Let me just complete this. So I can use this three quotation to declare a multi-line comment. Instead of using hash hash hash, you can even write this as, so these comments won't be executed by Python. Like this will be treated as non-coding part. It is just for the person who is reading your code. Like if you're writing some code and giving it to someone else, so for them to easily understand what code you have written, it is good practice to write comments on in Python or in any programming language in general. Okay, so this was about comments, and as I mentioned about the strings earlier, so you can declare a string as this in single quotation or in double quotation. However, you can use this as well as a valid string in Python. Sorry. So let me just print this. So this is a comment if it is not assigned to any variable, but if you assign it to some variable, it will become a string. Size print A, print B, and print C. So you can see here it's printed size, and then this is a new line I have added here. That's why this new line is also printed size just one. So this is also a string in Python. But if you just write, if you remove this, oops, because C is already declared, that's why it's not throwing an error. But let me just write some other variable, let's say D. It will just throw an error that D, okay, D is also declared earlier, so that's not an issue. So yeah, if the variable was not declared and then you would have used it, then it would have thrown error. But what I wanted to show is that this particular part is not getting executed now because it was not assigned to the variable C. And then let me just use this C equal to 5 now. Okay, so now you can see that C is having 5 and then this is a comment. This is treated as comment. But if I were to declare this, so it will print this as a string. Is it clear, everyone?
So what if we assign the value for a while declaring it in the function, and we need to assign a value to b in line number 12?
Okay. So you want me to assign a value to A here in function.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but if you don't pass this value to in A, it will be an error. You can write like this. You can just remove A totally
No,
and
like
do like this.
while
You
declaring the variables in like add numbers a equals to 5 comma b comma c equals to 2 as it is, and we need to set a value for b in line number 12
no, it can't be
while
done.
calling
So
for the
you
function.
can see this. All the default parameters should be towards the end. If you just do like this, it will just show you this non-default argument follows default argument. So this is not a valid statement in Python. So you cannot do like this. You'll have to have
Okay,
all
okay.
the default ones towards the end. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay, so this was about all these basic concepts in Python. So let me just go quickly on the slides. So we have covered all these concepts. So let us see some questions. Which of the following is yes? So we have already seen this. So what will be the output of this code?
The Earth is round, Moon has lots of dust.
Yeah, but you'll have to be very specific. Like, oh, sorry, I think I have declared all the options as A. So it is a, please consider it as A, B, C, D. So these are like four options. Okay, I have shown you the answer. So yeah, so this is the answer is option B, which is Earth is round and Moon has lots. So what is doing it is, over here is Earth is printing is getting printed. So as I told, like print statement always prints a new line character as well when it prints. So Earth is printed on one line. Print A is having round is printed on another line, and Moon has BC. So Moon has lots of dust. So it is all printed on one single line. Is it clear, everyone? So you will have to be very careful with this. Okay, so here is a list. I'll not go into this now, like it will just confuse you. We'll discuss this later when we'll discuss list in detail. Okay, find all the errors in the code. Okay, we have not discussed append as well. So let me just skip this. And yeah, we can see this question, last question. Okay, let me just stop the share. It's something is here now. Okay. So what will be the output of this? Okay, I think we have not discussed list and tuples, so you won't be able to do this now. So let us keep this as well for now. But definitely, like, is there any concept that you would like me to cover quickly because I'll have to end this meeting? I hope all these concepts covered in today's class will be useful for you to, uh, yeah,
So
solve your
in
assignments.
week two's assignment,
Hmm.
in question number two, we need to take input from user in such a way. I mean, the user will give the input as 1 space 2 space 3. So how will we evaluate that in the list?
One space, two space, three. I didn't get that. Means what exactly? Sorry, I can't discuss the quiz question directly, but I didn't get your question as
So
such.
not
Hmm.
the quiz question. In the
Hmm.
programming assignment 2, the
Uh-huh.
question says the input format is the input consists of a single line containing a integer
Oh, I see.
followed
I get
by
you.
n spaces separated by
I
the
see.
number.
Okay, so let us see this. Uh, A, B, C. I'm not sure if this will work, but yeah, let us see this. No, this might not work. So yeah, so if I give like this, it will one, two,
So the screen is not
three.
visible.
Oops, sorry. Yeah, so what I declared here is like I have declared three inputs. So one input is going to A, other to B, and another to C. Okay. So I think in that case, there is a list, is it? Like which is getting assigned, the values are getting added to the list, is it?
So but the input will be integers followed by n separated spaces.
I see. So I get your point. So it is like this, right? And you want to get this into different variables or somewhere.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that is a little complex because this is, I'll have to discuss splicing and other things in that. Like, for as I said, everything is that you input over here is considered as string. So if I just give this as input, let me just run this. Okay, again. So if I say one, two, three, four, and if I print A, so it will be a string A. So let me just print type of A as.
So but we
Oops.
need to calculate the arithmetic mean of n numbers with this input.
Yeah, so here you will see string, but what you can do here is there is one option. There might be several other options as well. I'll have to also think over it, like what else you can do. Uh, so you can, let's say num1. So each position in this string is having certain index. So this is like A0, A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, and A6. Okay, so if I just do print A0, so this is 1. And the type of this A0 will also be a string. But if I just do int of A0, so it will be 1. And then let me just do int of what is this A0, A1, A2. So this is A2. It is adding 1 plus 2.
So but it is not necessary, right, that the numbers will be of one decimal.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, it's not necessary. So you can But you'll have to then declare, oh, you mean like this, right? 1, 12, and 13, 14. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So in that case, it is a little complicated. I'll let me just check it once. Is the other way, which will be easy for you to understand. Okay, let me just try it on some online forum. How to take multiple input in Python in one line. Multiple, okay. So whenever you have this doubt, you can always search it and then refer to some online forum. So in this case, I've never used this kind of like input. So I'm just referring to some of the forum. So this is totally fine. You can look into the forum, especially the Stack Overflow and Geeks for Geeks are the forums wherein you can find out answers to certain queries which you are facing, or like certain problems you are facing. So in this case as well, so as I said, this there is a function called split in Python. So let me be quick over here. So what this code does, so user input three, enter three numbers separated by commas, or in your case, it is separated by space, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So it will take a string of this number, let's say like I declared 12, 23, and 34. So it will take that string and I want to split this string based on the spaces. So I'll have to use this user input and then split it. That split is also a function. And then I'm splitting it on the basis of spaces. And let me just print this input list. So I enter 12, 13, 14 and just enter. So you see that it has taken this string 12, 13, 14, split this string on uh, spaces, and it has converted it to a list. And then this is a list of uh, strings, and each string is a number. Now you will have to iterate over this list, for example, or you can do like this as well. Input list of one. So this is like list element 0. This is list element 1 and list element 2. Okay. So input list 1, since it is a string, you will have to convert it to int plus int input list of 2. So you can do something like this. Okay. So if you were to just do like this, input list 1 plus input list 2 without typecasting it, so it was simply like concatenated two strings. But you'll have to convert this into it. So I can declare any values here, like 12, let's say 2, 5 through 3, 4, 5, 6, and 13. Okay, so it is 12, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 13. So it is splitting this entire string based on space, and then considering these different strings, and then you can iterate over this list, or you can use the value, access the value of list. So indexing in Python starts from 0. So 0th element will be, so this is an operator which you use to access elements of the list. So input list of 0 will give you 12. 1 will give you the second value, 2 will give you the third value. And I'm taking this, and let me just run this. So it will add these two. And if I just simply do this, it will simply concatenate these strings. So is it clear? You can do this for any number of value, comma separated or space separated values. Does this answer your
Okay, sir.
query?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. So the thing that you'll have to remember is that everything in Python input is treated as a string. So you'll have to perform certain operations on the string to uh, get the integer out of it. Okay. So I
Yes,
hope
sir.
this session was helpful, everyone. In case I have missed out anything, I'll try to cover it in the next session. But I hope everything covered in this session will be helpful for you to solve your assignments. So thank you for joining. Are there any queries? Uh, yeah, your voice is a bit noisy. Yeah, sorry.
Sir, can you give a your mobile
No,
number?
please, I'll mute everyone. Yeah, so sorry, so whosoever was asking query, your microphone is pretty noisy. So I'll like you to put your query in chat.
Hello,
Yeah,
can you give a your mobile number, sir?
sorry, sorry, I can't share that. Sorry for that. But you can definitely put your query on the discussion forum or ask your query in the next session. So I'll be happy to answer your doubts.
Uh, yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Please feel free to ask on the forum or during the next session because all these sessions are getting recorded. You can also refer to the recordings later. And yeah, if possible, I'll look into the forum, but it is not possible for me to go through every single query in the forum. The other TS will definitely take care of it. So if you put your query over there, somebody else will definitely try to answer it. So yeah, you can either put it on the forum, somebody will answer, or you can ask me during one of these live sessions. Okay. What's the difference between raw input and input? Even I'm not sure, Nishanta. Like I've never used raw input as such, but yeah, definitely you can go and look into it. I'll also check it once and then get back to you in the next session. Okay. So yeah, I hope this session was helpful. I'll have to end this call now because I have some other commitments. So please do revise whatever concepts we have discussed so far and yeah, look into the online forums and other resources like W3 School that we have discussed. So everything will be useful. All recordings are here. What is it? Yeah, yeah. So this you will also find this. So thank you for bringing that up. So in this Swayam portal, you will see that there is this link now, like problem solving session Jan 25. So if you click on this, it will take you to a page. Like if you click over here, it will take you to this document wherein I'll put all these YouTube links, like the session week one session link is here, and all the material that you are accessing means I'm using will be available in this folder. So if you just click over here, it will redirect you to a drive folder and you will find all the material. So like week one slides can be found over here. So similarly, today's slides and the Colab notebook that I have used, the Python notebook that I have used, I'll put it over here so that you can access them and then even play around with the Python code. You can create a copy of that notebook or download it into your system and then use it. Okay, and then definitely look into this resource, uh, W3 School. You can go from the basics and then do some hands-on over here itself. Like if you just go on to this, try it yourself, you can run this here and then see the output and edit it as well. Okay, so I hope this will be useful for you to understand the basic concepts of Python. And once you build upon this, concepts, it will be easy for you to follow up on the advanced concepts that we are going to discuss later. Yeah, there are certain things which you may not know. Even I didn't know about, like how to means you deal with that. Means I referred to some online forum and then figured out how it can be done. So it's okay to ask for help anywhere, not only in the discussion forum, but you can refer to the online resources or online forums, ask your queries there, get answer. But definitely, it's not a good right way to just ask your questions from quiz directly over there. You can ask some concepts relating to the quiz, but quiz questions, but not exactly that. So that won't be a proper thing to do. You won't learn anything out of that. So yeah, that was all about today's session. So I hope it was helpful, and thank you everyone for joining. Please let me know whatever queries you will have in the next session. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you for joining. I'll end the call now.